Today we've got a first look at 3 of the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives from NECA Toys, including Superhero Alf, Captain Impressive from Dinosaurs, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles First Turtles. It's Saturday, time to open some toys. Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan. Thank you for joining me for another opening, unboxing, review of some upcoming or current toys. And today is a very special one because we've got a first look at some of the upcoming San Diego Comic-Con 2024 exclusives from NECA Toys. Massive thanks to Blaine and Trevor and everybody over at NECA who allowed this to be possible so we can get a good look at these figures outside of the box to know exactly what to expect. And we're gonna dive right in and kick things off with a look at the newest addition to NECA's Alf assortment with Superhero Alf.
Yo, Whopper? No problem.
All right, let's kick things off by taking a look at the San Diego Comic-Con 2024 exclusive Alf Ultimate action figure. This one's fun. It's another Comic-Con themed Alf figure, but this time he's cosplaying as a superhero. And he comes in this really great boxed packaging where the front looks like an old comic book. I actually love how it looks like a page from an old comic book. The artwork on here is fantastic too. It reminds me of a lot of the old artwork we would see back in the day for Alf with the animated series and such. I believe the artwork here would be Aaron Hazuri. And I never know if I'm saying that name right, but here's the credits right there, and I was correct. So, illustration by Aaron, really, really cool stuff on there. And then the sides of the package and the back give us some cross-sells, again, with some great photography of the figures, but again, in that comic book style there. And we've got a nice Velcro flap there that opens up. Again, great image here. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Super Alf. It's a terrible Alf impersonation, but there we go. We've got our figure here in the window box, meanwhile in San Diego. I love that. So we'll get this guy opened up and we'll get a closer look at him. This Alf is so fun outside of the packaging. All right, bringing in the tape measure. He's right at 6 inches tall, and if you've had any of the Alfs from NECA, I mean, it's a really, really fun figure. It's a great design. And this guy is extra awesome. He's got soft goods for his shorts and his superhero shirt and his cape here. The cape is awesome because they also do have some thin wires on the outside portions of the cape, so you can kind of bend it around and get it to do like some wind-blown poses. It's not like a really thick wire, it's kind of a thinner wire, so it doesn't hold it up all the way, but it works. I mean, you can really kind of shape it and play with it and get it to do some different things, like it's blowing in the wind if you want to pose them that way, or if you just want to keep it straight down, you've got that option too. I also like how it's got these little ties in the front. It just really adds the whole like homemade look for his costume. Like, look at the rope around his waist. This is like just a plastic rope that they've got over it, but I love that. I think that's so cool. And then this right here is like a faux leather strap going across, which is clearly like a belt that he put around his chest. I think it's awesome. You can see it's a Velcro bodysuit on the back there. So the shoes themselves, though, are sculpted. So he's got like new feet on here that look like sculpted tennis shoes. Big old feet, big old Alf feet there, which is really fun. And the articulation, you probably know what to expect already if you've already got the Alf figures or any of them in your collection. But it is ball jointed there at the neck. Really interesting articulation in the head. I love the way this works because look at this. The way it works is the top portion of the head is actually on this ball joint up here. So, I mean, this looks brutal, right? Taking him apart. But I just wanted to show you how that works. Like, this little ball joint up here allows the upper portion of the head. It looks kind of funny because you can move the mouth sideways, but like, This is how we can get these poses with the mouth kind of moving around, really animate them and give them that like puppet look, which I think is very, very cool. And then the arms can still function just fine, even though we've got this bodysuit on there. You can see it might get pulled a little tight when we're pulling the arms outwards, but not so bad. You can still bend and swivel at the elbow there, swivel at the wrist. There's hinge joints at the wrist as well. The torso is articulated. Legs go outwards, knees bend and swivel. And then these big old shoes, you can see they're articulated so that they can even rock side to side. And they do have a hinge joint allowing forwards and backwards movement. It's a very tight hinge joint. But that should allow you to get some really fun poses with Alf here. And to help you with that as well, we've also got a slew of interchangeable hands. Like you can see I've got the thumbs up and a closed fist. So we've got closed fists for either side. We've got these open hands, which are kind of like for flying poses, which is very cool. We've got the pointing hand, and we've even got gripping hands. The gripping hand is for one of the really fun accessories that's included. So this is easy to do just by pulling the hands out of socket. I'm sure you guys all know how to do that by now. Very easy to do. So some of the fun accessories he has, of course, since he's going to Comic-Con, he's going to a convention, he comes with a selfie stick with a phone attached to it. And look at this artwork on here. There's a little screen on the phone where you can see it's the actual figure, the Alf figure posing, and you can see San Diego Comic-Con behind him. Super fun. So you can actually put this in his hand. He gets a great grip on it, and you can even rotate. Look at that. The actual phone can rotate up there and everything. So you can actually pose him as if he's posing with his selfie stick at Comic-Con. Really, really fun stuff. Now, since he's going to Comic-Con, he also needs a poster tube. Yes, this version comes with a poster tube. I love this. So they've done other Comic-Con Alfs, last year specifically, that had a badge and it came with like the big San Diego Comic-Con bag that you always see people walking around with. So now we've got a poster tube, which is such a fun accessory. And yes, it can open up. And in fact, he comes with a poster of that amazing artwork from the box art. Very cool. So it's just like a little piece of paper. I'm actually going to see if I can roll this up here really good. There we go. And then we should be able to fit that in there. I want to do this without damaging it if I can. Oh, there we go. Yeah, look at that. Oh, he's actually got a poster for his poster too. I'm actually a little worried I'll be able to get that back out though. The last thing that it comes with is a sheet of stickers, and I don't know specifically what these are for. I guess you can plaster them on his poster tube if you want to, but there's some really fun stuff going on here, like the Captain America shield with an A on it for Alf, or the Deadpool logo, that's Alf's face. Really fun stuff. Free cat food. Melmac is for lovers. No problem. The 80s did it better. Good stuff on here. I think this is really fun. Look at that. Melmac Orbit Guard. Go ahead and panic. Fun stuff. So a little sticker sheet that you can also plaster on the poster tube or whatever you want if you desire. Overall, I think this is a really fun exclusive. I love just the theming that they keep doing with Alf. It works for the characters so well, and I just love seeing Alf still getting some love there, getting some fun action figures. I think this one will be a lot of fun if you enjoy the character. Next up, we'll be taking a look at the latest figure from the Jim Henson Dinosaurs line. We now have our first exclusive for the line, which is inspired by a specific episode of the show. Let's take a look at Captain Impressive.
Hello, fat boy. I'm gonna bite you now.
That's right, we're sticking with that superhero kind of cosplay theme with a Dinosaurs figure exclusive to San Diego Comic-Con. This is Earl Sinclair as Captain Impressive. Again, some amazing artwork there on the front of the box. Illustration again by Aaron. Here's all of your credits for everything going on with this particular figure. This one is just a window box on the front showcasing our figure within. We've got gorgeous photography around the sides. I do love a division of We Say So Corporation. DSN Dino Shopping Network, really fun theming here on the packaging, as seen on the Captain Impressive Action Fun Hour. Really fun stuff, references to the Dinosaur series. Let's go and get this guy pulled out of the box. We'll get a closer look at him. All right, we've got Captain Impressive outside of the packaging. Man, these are some chunky figures if you haven't picked up Earl from the Dinosaurs line yet. So you can see he stands 6 inches tall, but obviously if we go from like tail to his head, that's like 9 inches there. And also like, look at this dude. He's so hefty in your hands. He's a big, chunky boy. So this particular figure here does come from an actual episode of the Dinosaur series called Earl, Don't Be a Hero, in which Earl gets superpowers and becomes Captain Impressive, only for his company, the We Say So Corp, to just commercialize him. And then he's stuck selling stuff. But this is a really, really fun, like, exclusive figure to do. Let me just bring in the standard Earl, if you haven't already seen that, and put them side by side here so you can see what they look like. Obviously, we've got a full new portrait on this new one here. I love the smiling with the teeth showing, but he's got like the mask that's sculpted on. And all of the white bits on the new figure are really cool because they're like this pearlized white. And honestly, I don't know if that's coming across under my studio lights. I have that white background. That is not helping things. So my bad there. But those are very pearlized. It's very, very cool looking. What's really fun about this outfit too is like a lot of this is actual soft goods. Like look at this, the huge yellow trunks he's wearing there to cover his big body, the green, the spandex, like this is all a soft goods outfit on underneath. But this part right here is actually a hard plastic piece, or it's a softer plastic that sits over the figure's shoulders, and then he's got his flannel cape attached to it, and the cape is got a wire in it, of course, which is really awesome. So you'll be able to pose that around as if it's blowing and everything in the wind. Really cool stuff. The articulation is there, but obviously he's a big, chunky figure. So the articulation will be kind of based on what you can pull off with the body there. But the head's on a ball joint in there, and we do have swappable heads that I'll show you in just a bit, but you can still move the arms around. It is articulation at the shoulders, the elbows, we got the swivel there, the hands can swivel, we've got the hinge joints there, and then those legs can articulate there forwards and backwards, and then you can see the ankles can also move forwards, backwards, kind of rock side to side. It is really stiff articulation on this guy there, but I mean, there's not a whole lot of posing. You got these little short stubby arms and everything. There's not a whole lot we're gonna get out of this guy, but to help kind of animate him a little bit, we do have some interchangeable hands there, and that's real easy to do, just to pop the hands right out of the pegs there. And we've got things like a pointing finger, we've got the open hands here, which I like, so we can kind of get like some flight poses there. So some fun stuff going on with that. Also, to go right along with, what happens in the episode, we've got this really fun accessory, which is just like a tiny little piece of like laminate there. It's like a little piece of plastic, but it's the Captain Impressive trachea plug from the Home Shopping Network scene in the episode, ages 12 and older. It's a bit tough to even get them to hold on to this thing because it's just like this flat little piece of plastic. Funny that it's included. I just wish it was an accessory that we could display a little bit better with the figure. Now, if Earl feels like he wants to kind of unmask for baby, we've got the option to do that just by swapping on this extra head. Before I do that, let me just show you. Like, see, this whole piece right here is removable, and I'm actually going to remove the hands too. You can also remove these portions of the gloves, which will be good because we also have interchangeable normal hands for Earl. So you can slide this off of the figure if you want to. This whole piece right here is a separate plastic piece with the belt, with the cape attached to it. And then we've just got the jumpsuit there. And the jumpsuit is Velcro. So I suppose if you want to pull all this off, you can. We do just have a standard red painted shirt underneath there. So it's not a flannel shirt. So it does differentiate from the standard release there. Obviously, it looks like the same figure, just without the details. And obviously, he doesn't have dinosaur feet. We've only got the boot feet for this guy. So you can see how this was kind of assembled and put together. And I guess if you want to remove all this stuff, it does appear that there is an option to do it. It is worth noting you do have to assemble the tail out of the package. It just plugs into a ball joint down here. Tail is nicely articulated. I forgot to show that too. So we can easily just pop on the unmasked head if we want to. We've got some regular hands we can now attach. Oh, goodness. It would help if I actually get the head on the ball joint. There we go. Okay, so head's on the ball joint. We got the extra hands, and there you go. So now you've got kind of just like a regular Earl wearing the suit, so he can unmask himself in front of Baby. The faces do appear to be the same, though the paint actually looks a little bit better on the eyes on this new one. But I don't know, maybe that's just me who sees that. I mean, they're pretty similar otherwise. So I think Captain Impressive is a super fun figure, and it's the kind of thing that I think makes a good exclusive, because it's kind of niche, it's based on one episode, it's superhero themed, so that works as well. I think if there's one thing I would have really liked to see also included with this is a little Captain Impressive action figure, because that was kind of a thing in the show. Like, he was trying to sell those action figures on the shopping network, and it would have been really cool to have like the little included action figure of himself. That would have been a really fun accessory. I'm actually kind of bummed that that's not included. Otherwise, I think this is still super fun. It's really, really well done. I'm always impressed with how well they can get these Muppets to look like actual Muppets. The folks at NECA do an amazing job with that sort of thing. I also love to see more stuff from Dinosaurs. I hope we're going to get more from this actual show, because I personally am counting down to a box set of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Cavemen. Make that happen, NECA. Impressive. Most impressive. But now it's the main event, my friends. I know that this is what I'm most excited about. It's probably what a lot of you are more excited about as well. I mean, the other exclusives are great, but this exclusive, well, this one's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let's check out the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive First Turtles box set. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And my friends, that's going to bring us to the final exclusive from NECA that we're going to be taking a look at today. And to be perfectly honest, it's the one that I am particularly most excited about, because of course I am. This is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the First Turtles set, inspired by the very first Ninja Turtle artwork done by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. It's both of their versions in one box set. So the front there, you can see it's pretty faint, but it does just have sort of like some light artwork there of those original sketches. But as we rotate it around, you got these beautiful full color close-ups of the faces, and then the back is where things are really fun, because this features a lenticular where you can see the images as they shift from black and white to full color. Really fun stuff with Kevin Eastman's version and Peter Laird's version. I love too how sporting all the different weapons there as well. Really, really cool stuff. And again, celebrating 40 years of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You can see the full images there on the sides. So illustrations done by Kevin Eastman. Very cool stuff there. And then this box is a slip cover, so you can pull that off, which reveals a window box that is more in line with the window boxes that we see for the Mirage series of figures from NECA Toys. So this showcases both our Eastman and Laird First Turtles inside of the packaging, multiple accessories, interchangeable heads. You can see that same artwork in the background behind the figures there. And rotating around to the backside, we've got some photography, as well as the headshots here of several Mirage characters. Really fun stuff. Let's get this amazing looking set opened up, out of the box, and we'll get a closer look at them. All right, this is our Kevin Eastman and our Peter Laird First Turtles outside of that window box packaging. And we'll go ahead and start with scale on these guys. If I bring in the tape measure there, you can see Eastman Turtle about 5.5 inches tall. Laird Turtle is a bit shorter, right at 5 inches tall. And let's do like a scale with these guys, right? A scale comparison, bringing in some of the other previous NECA releases there, including our different Mirage Turtles that they've released. So you can see what these look like side by side. You can see they're pretty much right in scale with what we've had from NECA prior to these. Obviously, they're just shaped quite a bit different since they're based on very specific artwork. But they line up on your shelf with all your other turtles. I actually love this. This is one of the things I think is so cool throughout the Turtles lines, even that NECA's doing, is we have so many different styles of Turtles that are all iconic for their own reasons. And having the ability to kind of like show this metamorphosis on our toy shelf, like the development of this line, is pretty freaking cool, if you ask me. If we want some more comparisons here, let me just move our Mirage Turtles out of the way, and I'll bring in our Fred Wolf design, our cartoon Michelangelo. I'm using all Mikeys here since our first Turtles are technically Mikey. We'll bring in the movie as well, which has a much taller scale, but now you can see what all of these look like standing side by side. Pretty fun stuff. And like I said, we've had so many different Turtles figures based on different entertainment, different artwork. And from NECA alone, we've got so many different styles that it really does give you some pretty cool possibilities for display on the toy shelves. So as mentioned, these are based on very specific artwork, specifically the first sketch, the first Turtle sketch from Kevin Eastman, and then Peter Laird followed that up doing his own version of that, which is how both of these looks came to be. And NECA did an incredible job just capturing the overall look and feel of those sketches and translating them to 3D in plastic form. And as you can see, I can pose them very similar to the artwork that they're based on, if not almost identical, which I love. I think that's fantastic. But these guys are fully articulated, so you'll actually be able to pose them around a little bit more than we've really seen out of those first sketches. The Eastman turtle is our big chunky boy here, right? He's got this huge shell, really hefty. He feels solid. The figures feel good. They feel a lot like what we've been getting recently from NECA Toys. They definitely remind me a lot of the Lawson Turtles that we got not too long ago, which are some of my favorites. They have a very similar feel overall to those. And yes, like these original Turtles, the first design technically is Michelangelo. He does have the nunchucks, and in that artwork there, the nunchucks were posed on the wrists. And the way they actually handled that on here is they are solid pieces, like the two nunchucks are actually like stuck together, but there's a little clip on the underside, real metal chains, which is very cool. And that can slide. You can see there's a little gap right in there. So that's how you can attach these to the wrists, but fully removable if you want to take those off of there. So let's go ahead and run down articulation. We'll start with our Eastman turtle here real quick. I already kind of had him posed to go right along with that artwork. So you can see he's articulated at the head itself there at the top of the neck, as well as the base of the neck. Ball jointed, very, very nice. Good fluid motion all in there. So you can really rotate that all the way around. The arms can come outwards, forwards, backwards, swivel at the elbow, bend at the elbow, swivel at the wrist, and hinge at the wrist. And then torso, very solid in here. And then the legs are a bit stubby on this guy, but you can see that it is ball joints in there on the barbell. So they roll around. They do slightly move forwards and backwards. You're going to get hindrance here from the front of the shell. You can bend at the knees, pretty stubby. And actually, it looks like that's essentially like our ankle articulation, because the knee just kind of goes right into the foot on these. So it does swivel here and then also hinges there. And it doesn't really rock side to side very well, but because you can swivel it and use the hinge joints, you can still get poses with the feet flat on the ground just fine. So it works out pretty nicely on this guy. Like I said, they're very stylized, so the articulation will feel a little bit different, but it's nice to know that it's there and it's added. Same kind of thing going on here. Very long neck, but it's articulated the same way on the Laird version here. Oh, I also forgot to mention that the bandanas are also articulated. They can swivel. You can do that on the Eastman one there as well, which is very nice. So same thing with the arms there. Swivels at the elbow, bend at the elbow, swivel and hinge at the hands, much smaller there. The legs are still also ball jointed. They do both have tails, but the tails themselves only swivel, so there's no actual other articulation, no like hinge joint on there. It doesn't seem, it just kind of swivels on there. We do have distinct knees on the Laird version, since his legs are a little better proportioned for that. And then you can see the feet still have the hinge joint and can kind of rock side to side there. So pretty fun articulation, even though these guys are, like I said, very stylized. You should still be able to kind of pose them around a little bit. The nunchucks here on the Laird version are similar, where they just clip on the wrist. wrist. No chains on these though, because they're just meant to match the artwork. So this is where things get extra fun with these guys, because even though these are based on very specific artwork, and I can see a lot of people wanting to pose them that way, one of the things NECA did to plus these up is they included lots of accessories and interchangeable hands and heads on these guys. So for example, on our Eastman turtle here, he's got these big open hands, right? With kind of like the little claws on there. But we have the ability to swap on some new gripping hands, and we have a new head sculpt where it's just got like that signature teeth gritting grimace and the angry eyes there for the turtles. So this is very easily interchangeable. You can just pop the head right off the ball joint there. We can pop the new head on, and then we can pop these new hands on the same way just by pulling them out of socket. Everything functions really well here. The joints feel nice and tight, so they hold onto the figures, but not too tight that it's hard to swap out the parts. And now, this is cool because we'll be able to arm our turtles up a little differently. Before I explain further, let me show you real quick. The Laird turtle does the same thing. We've got swappable gripping hands, and we've got a swappable head with the same kind of teeth gritting pose there. Pull that head right off the ball joint, pop the new one on in its place. I'm going to remove those little nunchuck attachments, and we'll put in the gripping hands. All right, so what's the point in doing this? Well, my friends, as you can see, we've got several weapons that we can attach. So for example, we do have a pair of standard nunchucks with the real metal chains there. So if we want to pose our figures actually holding onto the nunchucks rather than having them on their wrist, we can do that. We also have one nunchuck that has the twirling effect on there. So unfortunately, we don't have one more nunchuck. I almost wish we had one more that they can hold. So if you want to do this, you can still like clip one on the wrist there. So you can pose them like this if you want to. If you want your two versions of Michelangelo there, but holding the nunchucks or twirling the nunchucks, we've got the option to do so. But let's say you're a fan of the other turtles instead. Well, NECA included two katanas, a bow staff, and two sais. So lots of different options here for posing our weapons around, making it so you can kind of create your own concepts of the first turtle with the various Ninja Turtles weapons. And this is super fun, mixing and matching all of these parts. Each of these turtles obviously can hold on to any of these weapons and kind of give you a first turtle design, you know, as Eastman first drew or as Laird first drew, but with the weapons that we've come to know for each of our favorite signature turtles. Really fun stuff. And the articulation does allow for things like two-handed poses with the bow staff that I was able to pull off. And I just love the idea of being able to kind of pose these guys around and create your preferred turtle holding on to any of the included accessories here. It's pretty fun stuff. So before we wrap up, I've actually got two comparisons that I want to do here, some comparison times, because several years ago, Mondo actually released a PVC statue of Kevin Eastman's first turtle, which is what you see right here on the right. This was released in multiple ways. It was black and white, and then there's one with multiple heads with an orange bandana or a red. I just happen to have this one displayed with an orange bandana, so I wanted to bring that in to show them side by side so you can see the difference there. Scale difference, right? Huge scale difference. And these guys are just minimally articulated, the Mondo ones. So much more articulation on the NECA ones, but they look pretty good standing next to each other. You can see difference in colors too. They just kind of went a different route with the colorization of the skin tone and everything, but it's still cool seeing these side by side. Now recently, Ish released a Peter Laird version that matches this Mondo one that I unfortunately don't have right now in my collection to compare with the NECA one, but it is worth mentioning that that version exists as well. But the other thing I do want to show is recently Playmates Toys came out with the Sketch Turtles. So I wanted to bring Mikey from the Sketch Turtles in here to show those side by side. It's worth mentioning the Sketch Turtles are based on a completely different piece of early artwork. So essentially all three of these right here are based on different pieces of artwork, and they all show a very cool evolution of Ninja Turtles history for the 40th anniversary. Pretty cool stuff. So there you go, my friends, a look at 3 of the upcoming San Diego Comic-Con exclusives from NECA Toys. All 3 of these are going to be for sale at the show if you are going to be attending San Diego Comic-Con. But if you are unable to attend, the good news is that NECA is going to follow suit with what they've done for the last several years and offer pre-orders at thenecastore.com. The option to do this will be taking place on June 26th, 27th, and 28th. The sales will start at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on all 3 of those days. Limited quantities on each day. They set aside quantities for each of those sales. So make sure you try all 3 of them so that you can attempt to nab whichever of the exclusives that you want to get for yourself. Once again, massive shout out to the folks over at NECA Toys for sending these along so we can get a good look at them outside of the packaging. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me for another installment here on the channel. If you are new here, hey, every Saturday I'm uploading a video just like this where we're taking a look and unboxing and reviewing several action figures, modern, upcoming, whatever I want to talk about, that's what we're doing here. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave me a comment down below. Massive shout out to all of my supporters over on Patreon. You guys are amazing. Until next time, my friends.